going to get a behind-the-scenes look at how we make movie magic. Now, you probably already know that the word movie is just a nickname for motion pictures. But in the early days of filmmaking, the whole concept must have truly seemed like magic. In the late 1800s, the Pettibone Brothers Manufacturing Company produced magic lanterns like this thing, and these were used by traveling showmen to project images onto a white backdrop. Now, you've got to imagine for just a moment what that was like. You're sitting in a dark tent. Suddenly, the white backdrop is revealed, and a single image appears. But then, when played in the right order, in the right light, and at the right speed, those pictures come to life, creating a magical new world. Universal Studios has been making movies on this location for the last 100 years. And during that time, they've created some of the most memorable film moments in Hollywood history.
Hold on to your butts.
The basic concept of the filmmaking process has remained the same, to make you, the audience, believe that everything you see is real.
That's right, and today's filmmakers have more tools than ever before. High-tech cameras, super fast computers, but they still rely on a category of effects that are so distinctive, we call them special.
And the oldest form of special effects are called practical effects, and those are done right on set, right in front of the camera. Our first example of practical effects, models. Check out the opening from Universal's 1933 version of The Mummy. It utilizes miniature effects. You can tell that's a scale model because looking closely at the real pyramids, they don't say The Mummy. See? Now, as you know, Universal just rebooted the Mummy franchise last year. The previous installment was in 1999, and the Sphinx from the opening shot of that movie is this model right here. And the attention to detail is incredible. Further proof that models are still an awesome way to fool the camera, right, Greg?
Absolutely. Another filmmaking tool that still fools the camera is the glass mat. In the terrifying film The Birds, the brilliant Alfred Hitchcock had matte paintings created to achieve the eerie look that he wanted for the town of Bodega Bay. Check this out. In this bird's eye view of the town, only two things are real: the fire and the parking lot. Everything else was painted onto a sheet of glass to create a mat and then dropped into frame. And watch this blend. That is movie magic, and then the birds were layered in to complete the effect.
So we've shown you two forms of practical effects so far. First models, and now the glass mat.
Yep, but there's still another category of practical effects that involve performers. It's called practical stunt.
Did somebody say stunts?
Ladies and gentlemen, let's welcome our stunt department.
Yeah! That was awesome, man! Mike came flying in on this side. You got Skylar zipping down over here. Joel Stunt walks in. Why don't we get an awesome entrance like these guys?
We get to wear these fancy pants. And we have an amazing stunt department. You may not recognize their faces, but you've seen a lot of their work in film and television programs, quite often doubling your favorite stars. This gentleman right here is Mr. Skylar Burnett. The gentleman in the middle, he referred to as Stunt Joel. This is Joel Coryell. And this is our stunt coordinator, Mr. Michael DeCamp. Welcome, gentlemen. Well, let's ask our stunt coordinator a tough question. Michael, would you say that stunt performers often fill in for actors when there's a big fight scene?
Absolutely. Most actors do not like to get kicked in the face.
Kicked in the face?
Like so.
Oh! Is he okay? Yes, he's fine. You guys go get set up. Obviously, when it comes to staging fights, the art of illusion is pretty important. Every move has to be done as realistically as possible in order to fool the camera without anybody getting injured, of course, and then the rest is up to these guys to make it look believable. And suddenly, we find ourselves in a dark alley. Lurking about in that dark alley are some nefarious characters. Action. Not the kind of thing our friends should be trying at home?
That is correct.
Ouch. Good night, Joel. Have a good one. You guys be sure to recycle. We'll be seeing those guys again in just a little bit. Did you notice all the really cool sound effects added to that scene? The dynamic sound of punches, the dumpster hit, the unfortunate cat at the bottom of that dumpster. What do we call when we add all those sound effects?
Greg, we call it Foley. Now, Foley is the process of adding sound effects to movies after they're done filming. But do you know its origins? Jack Foley wore many hats, a silent movie director, writer of westerns, even a stunt double. But when he started doing sound effects for Universal back in the 20s, that's when he really made a name for himself. For over 30 years, Foley worked in Soundstage 10 right here on the Universal lot. And if he couldn't recreate a sound effect in that soundstage, he would just go out and get it, inventing a technique called direct-to-picture. Foley and his small crew would record all of the sound effects for a finished movie in one take. The synchronization with the movements of the film had to be perfect. One mistake, and they started over from the beginning. And here to help show us that art of Foley, give it up for our first volunteers!
We have the Garcia family from Texas!
Yeah! Welcome, gang! Thank you so much for helping us out today. They're going to help demonstrate how the simple items on this cart can be repurposed to sound like something completely different than what you might think. For example, in Foley, a water bottle could be used to articulate the sounds of breaking bones. Something like this. Check it out. You kids can try that at home. Parents will love it. Cool, let's see what they have to Foley. It's from the movie Identity Thief, starring Jason Bateman and Melissa McCarthy. Now, while you watch, keep one eye on the scene itself, but make sure you look right next to it at the Universal Foley artists hard at work. Check it out.
Now, I have a plan.
Just like that, piece of cake. Facile, right? Yeah, you got this. Quick recap of the sound effects so everybody's caught up to speed. You, my dear, will be doing both, starting with the crash box filled with loud items. When she spins this, it's going to simulate the crash sounds we heard in that scene, and then she'll jump over to this high-tech device, shoes glued to sticks, and that's for the running in the scene. Beautifully done. Rolled up paper wrapped tightly in tape, and a cutting board for the body falls onto the ground. Boxing gloves on sticks for the throat punch, and the face mask there. Nice. And last but not least, brother, the cowbell on the mallet for that panini hit to the back of the head. And this is where I think you have the hardest one, because you need to make these 2 pair of handcuffs sound like only 1 pair of handcuffs. Can you do that? Hey, I believe in you. You guys look ready. You want to give it a shot? I love it. You're ready. I know my booth is ready. So, Let's do Foley family, take one. Sound rolling, sound speed, action. Take the actual dialogue and music from that scene, but lay over their real Foley track we just recorded live and see if I need to get used to some applications, right? So let's line up right here. Turn around. Everybody check out these side screens.
Get over here and give me your wrist. Okay? Now I have a plan.
Move to California. Well, obviously Universal has produced a lot of movies and many great ones in all genres, but the studio really made a mark over the decades creating some of the most memorable and creative horror films and thrillers of all time. Created with the use of some very special horror effects. Emerging from the shadows behind me are some of the stars of our horror family, the classic Universal monsters. Ladies and gentlemen, back here we've got maquettes of Dracula, Chucky and his bride, Michael Myers, and over there we've got Emotep from The Mummy, Phantom of the Opera, and good old Mama Bates from Psycho. A perfect setting for our next demonstration.
Everyone give a warm welcome to Jessica. Say hi, Jessica.
Hi, Jessica. Well, Jessica was selected because she has an epic Hollywood scream. Jessica, if you're staying in the Bates Motel and suddenly you come face to face with a knife-wielding Norman Bates, how would you scream?
Nice! Whoa! Jessica, have you been murdered before? That was pretty good.
Well, as we all discovered a few moments ago, stunt performers have a ridiculously high pain threshold. The question is, do you?
Well, Jessica, do you?
Because our next demonstration is all about blood. Ladies and gentlemen, pop quiz. What did Alfred Hitchcock use for blood in the classic film Psycho? Chocolate syrup is the correct answer. Very good.
There you go. See, Psycho was a black and white movie, so they could use chocolate syrup back then. But nowadays, movie blood has to be much more realistic.
Jessica, thank you for giving us a hand.
Literally! Now remember, kids, do not try this at home, okay?
No! Try this at a friend's house.
All right, my dear, whichever hand you don't want, okay?
Don't move. I don't want to hurt myself.
Yeah. Wait, let's not use the machete.
Aww.
Wow.
A little disappointed when I called myself.
What did you think you were coming to see?
Aw, you can't play today. Let's use this knife under here. It's much sharper.
Perfect.
All right.
Yeah.
Take a look at the side screens. Let's hear that amazing scream one more time on 3. 1, 2, 3! She's fine! Look at that! That's a Hollywood blood knife up there. That's not a real blade. It slides in and out. It's got a little notch in it that fits right over Jessica's arm. And on the back side, we've got this ball filled with blood. When I squeeze it, it makes quite a mess. It's really a wonderful effect, thank you. But not nearly as wonderful as our screaming friend Jessica!
Yeah!
Good work, Jessica.
Way to go, my dear. You killed it, girl. Nicely done. Oh, no! Oh, man. He's gonna help you. You were great. I got blood on my pants!
Not your fancy pants! Come on over here. Open that up to the camera app. She was such a wonderful volunteer. We promised her a picture in front of our classic Universal monsters. Right this way, my dear. Let me escort you to the cemetery. Stand right there on that little mark. There you go. So you're surrounded by all these amazing monsters. Let's strike a pose of terror. Like you're really frightened. Like, oh no! And let's hear that incredible scream one more time on 3. 1, 2, 3. Yeah, that's great. Bad Michael Myers, bad! You get back to that cemetery right now. Go home. Aww. I wish you could have seen the look on your face, and it's right up there. That isn't me. I would pay full price to see that. Let's give it up for Jessica. Bye, Michael. Blood knife. That's another practical effect. But we're going to shift gears now and talk about visual effects, which are the kinds created inside a computer. And here now to help me demonstrate motion capture, or as we like to call it, mocap. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome back to the stage, Ryan!
Yeah, this is happening. Oh, sorry. Oh, those poor children.
They bounce back. Let's hope. Hey, you look great.
Hey, thank you, Gregory.
Hey, let's bring up the perimeter sensors, please. Thank you, Nels. Ladies and gentlemen, the markers on Ryan's Superflex light. Back to those sensors, and then up to the computer that captures all that amazing movement. Can we get the capture on the screen? There you are, Ryan. You're a big stick figure. All of the markers on his suit now show up there as dots in that skeleton. Give me a T-pose, buddy.
Sure, man.
So we always start out in this particular position to mark the beginning of a fresh take. What are you doing?
Sorry, I don't know if you can tell, but this suit is tight.
Yeah, we noticed.
Okay.
Touch your nose with your left hand. That's good. Now with your right. One more time with your left, please, Ryan. One more time with your right. Hey, guess what? That suit calibrates. It stays. You may relax your arms. I need some full body movement now. How about some jumping jacks? And then maybe a little bit of marching in place. So these movements that he's creating helps people create these wonderful digital skeletons. And then they can play with the aspect ratio, add some wire framework. Would you look at that? And finally, apply a digital skin. Now, at this point, we can turn Ryan into anything that we want. But as you can see, the animators have already made up their mind. Hey, Ryan, you're a friendly, cuddly teddy bear.
Hi.
Hi. But you're not just any teddy bear. You guys know who this is? You're Ted.
Oh, sweet.
You're gonna get this bear to a club. You get some dance moves?
Oh, I got club moves, brother.
I thought you might. That all you got?
No, man, I got more. Get ready.
I want to see him.
Yeah, tell you what. Here's a little something for the ladies.
We asked, he delivered.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
Definitely. Hey, Ted, what do you think of the show so far?
That's why I watch these things. It's like a cool behind-the-scenes thing that you wouldn't know.
Thunder Buddies, Ted.
Thunder Buddies for life.
Tight suit or not, you completely rocked it. Let's hear it for Ryan and the mocap suit. Yep. Hey, fun fact, the Phil Tinda Studios created an awesome mocap suit for Seth MacFarlane so that he could act and direct at the same time. Let's take a look at the genius behind Ted.
We were able to do Ted in a completely lifelike way and to use technology in a way that it really hasn't been used to date. What that technology does so well is it takes fantastical characters and makes them as realistic in movement as possible.
Pretty cool, right? But as far as technology has come with visual effects and CGI, there still are a few things that just look better real, like fire. Let's take a look at some fire stunts in Universal films. One of the most exciting and definitely most dangerous aspects of filmmaking is the fire stunt. And right now, we're going to bring our top-notch stunt department back out to show you how they execute a live fire burn. Walking back onto center stage is the man who's going to be doing that stunt, Mr. Skyler Bonette. Helping to maintain his safety is Joel Coriel. And of course, our stunt coordinator, Mr. Michael DeCamp. Everybody take a look at Skyler's face for a moment, and you'll notice it's pretty shiny. That's because it's covered with a protective gooey substance called fire gel, which is going to help keep safe his face and all that hair. Now you guys may know what it feels like if you've ever been out sunbathing and you accidentally missed a spot of sunscreen. Well, you can imagine what it would feel like for Skyler if he missed a spot while on fire. Not good. Up next is the application of the fuel, and Joel is standing by just in case of premature ignition.
Testing one.
Oh,
Testing two.
you have a cool job.
Excuse me, we're gonna fuel?
Yes, sir.
Joel, you ready?
At the completion of the shot, Skyler's going to make his way to this blanket, and this is where he'll be put out. And at that point, we'll all be waiting for 2 thumbs up from Skyler, a sign that he's okay. If we don't get that, we know that we need to get the medical team involved immediately. While they continue this process, I would like to pause for a moment to remind everybody in this theater that these are 3 trained professional stuntmen. What you guys are about to witness is ridiculously dangerous. And you need to know that although it doesn't look like it, they're actually using all sorts of special equipment and extra clothing underneath what you're currently looking at, all designed to keep Skyler safe. What you guys are about to see is not the kind of thing that anybody should be thinking about doing at home. This is Skyler's 20-second full body burn, and he's going to be on fire for about 8 to 10 seconds. Now, let's bring the house lights down, please. Set our clocks to 0. Thank you. Looks like they're getting close at this point. Please stay seated, everybody. Michael, set's yours.
Joel, you ready? Skyler, you ready to burn?
Ready and action.
Lighting. Your legs.
Look at that, Mama.
You're out!
Thumbs up. Big time, Skyler. About 18 seconds. A final round of applause for our incredible stunt department, Mr. Michael DeCamp, Joel Coriel, and the man on fire, Skyler Bonette. And he's out. Hey, if anyone was wondering if that was real fire, you can ask these people right over here. I'm sure it got pretty toasty for you folks as well. That's going to be a hard act to top. But for our final demonstration, we're going to create a scene that is truly out of this world. With our final volunteers, right this way, you two. Ladies and gentlemen, they're from all the way from Los Angeles. Please welcome Sharon and Tim.
All the way. Oh, yeah.
Well, thank you guys so much for joining me. Obviously, Tim, you're going to be playing the part of an astronaut. I should have asked you this earlier. Are you at all afraid of heights? Yeah, well, that'll make it very interesting for our audience. No, I'm just kidding. We're going to take good care of you. Tim, I'm going to turn you over to our stunt coordinator. And then Sharon, you stay out here with me and stand right there on that mark. I've got a surprise for you. Coming in overhead is our Fisher Flying Rig. It's a highly sophisticated computer-controlled cable system which we use to create the illusion of flight. Sounds complicated, but don't worry, there's an app for that. This iPad, which Sharon is going to be holding, controls that system. For the first time in your relationship, you're in charge of the remote control. Let me show you how this thing works, Sharon. Everybody else can check it out on that big screen up there. When I tell you to, you're going to press the enable button, that'll turn it on. This button turns it off. This green bar will take Tim up and down, and this moves him forwards, backwards, or all over the place if you so desire. You're welcome. Take your left hand and place it in there. So let's have some fun with it, but don't touch anything until I tell you to. I'll be coaching you every step of the way. We'll get this relationship off the ground. All right, let's check in with our astronaut, see how he's doing. Pretty cool, right? Yeah. So they're checking out the harness and the rig. Linda, our stage manager, along with our stunt coordinator, Michael, gives us a thumbs up, and off we go. So we're going to send you into space. Do you have any final words you'd like to say to Sharon before we do that? He said he loves and trusts you very much. What is that? Hey, that's better. Sharon, tomorrow he's going to take you shoe shopping in Beverly Hills. Money is no object. It's a good guy. Hey, for this final thing, we're going to use another special effect called rear projection. Give me the back plate, please. Thank you, Nels. Hey. Hi. We're kind of in the middle of a show. Join us. So let's put him in space, shall we? Hit that enable button, and then we'll take him off the ground nice and slowly. All right, that's it. Over there. Tim, you're in space. All right, let's take your hands off the cable. I know you have a little bit of height issue there. Take your hands off, though. There you go. Oh. Earth is like 3 feet away. You're fine. Shoulders back. Shoulders back. Chin up. Look up. Look up. Look up. Look up. Keep looking. And now you're a starfish. All right. Put your finger right there, and then move him this way. We'll get him into that shot over there. All right, Tim, you're swimming through space. You come across the space station. Wave at the space station. Big wave. Oh. Hit that disable button right here. That's it right there. We're going to bring it back. We're going to reset it. 1 second. All right, my friend. Shoulders back. Chin up. Look up. Look up. Yeah, you look completely natural. Hit that enable button and we'll check them up. This time just a little bit farther. That's enough. Stop right there. Stop. Stop. Hold on. Stop. Are you sending him home? Let go of the cables, Tim. Let go. Hit that button right there. Wait. Wait. All right. I got you. I got you. You're fine. You're totally fine. There you go. You're done. You're done. Let's give him a big round of applause, everybody. That's fine. That's the body language of a man having a great time. Let me take that from you 1 second. You did great. You know what's that? We'll bring it down, okay? That's touchdown! Shoulders back. Chin up. Look up. Look up. Sharon, come on over for a second. Stand right there 1 moment. You're a natural. You made that look easy. You're gonna go over there and you're gonna give Sharon a big hug and you're gonna remember what forgiveness is all about. He's fine. Remember, the whole idea behind special effects is to make the audience believe that everything that they see is real. Yeah. Get up my firing cry, everybody! Nice job! And keep the applause going for all of our volunteers.